You know, it's interesting, Brian, if you go back to 1993, Michael Hammer wrote a book called Re-Engineering the Corporation. And in it, what he talked about, he said that 50 to 70% of companies that take on a re-engineering project fail to achieve the dramatic results they intended. So, okay, let's fast forward 20-some years to today. We recently went out and asked companies, 1,500 companies worldwide, we said, okay, you guys have spent a fortune on sales effectiveness over the last couple of years. You know, what are you seeing as a return on that investment? And 30% came back and said we're achieving most or all of the things we expected. You know, the other 70% said, few or minimal or nothing. And so 21 years later, and you know, we're still not achieving dramatic results. And when we take a look at projects that fail to live up to expectations, they're doing a lot of things wrong. They first off don't have realized that I've got to have senior ownership of this thing. I mean, at the CEO, COO, CSO level, because we're fundamentally going to have to change the business. We're going to have to make investments in these things. We're going to have to make full-time assignments. Most important is, do I have the right tools and processes in place to do these things? And I think until people get really serious about doing this and making this part of their corporate culture, you're not going to see the kind of results that people expect to have. But those few companies that can drive it, as soon as any one player in that marketplace really clicks on sales transformation, that's going to set the bar so much higher that everybody else is going to be struggling to catch up.
Yeah, you know, earlier we talked about the shift of everything happening so quickly now and being able to sell at the speed of change. And we've taken a look at, you know, the three big weapons that are given to salespeople. It's marketing, messaging, CRM, and sales training. And those, all three of those solutions were built in that era of annual strategic planning and relatively fixed value propositions. And if you look at some of the data that's out there, I mean, CRM right now I think is 74% of organizations report not a high degree of adoption. I think your organization reported 70% of traditional legacy sales training has gone 30 days after people leave a class, and American Marketing just reported 90% of marketing messaging is not being used by sales. So to me, it's a lot of numbers, but it's pretty dismal when you say the marketing messaging, the CRM, and the sales training that are built to help organizations transform and compete aren't being used, and I believe that's because they were built in an era when the world was different. So in addition to all the things you said, the tools that they're using to enable people to make the transformation are just not really current in today's environment.
I think it's a really big part of it. I think what we're seeing too, Brian, is the first sale you need to make with sales transformation is an internal sale. I mean, you already have people out there selling, and I may be doing it with stick pins and voodoo dolls, but if I went to Maui because I hit my number, I'm thinking I'm doing a pretty good job. Yeah. And so to really go in there and say, here's a better way of doing things. Here's how using the new processes, the new messages, the new tools will help make you more effective. You've got to get them to volunteer to do things a different way. And I think until you're able to go out and articulate, here's what's in it for you, it's going to be a really hard sell.
Yeah.